Hello, welcome. Today we're breaking down the love equation. So, you know, as you see, our universal equation. Wait, can you guys hear my music? Just give me a second. Give me a second. Apologies. As I was saying, yes, universal love equation. So, in this lesson today, I'll be teaching you guys how to apply this equation to your everyday, maybe not everyday, but to potential suitors in the future. Okay. So as you can see, the equation is in front of us. L is, let me just go to the next slide. That will be better. My bad. Okay. So for define our variables relating P equal the person, the individual. A is the authenticity of this person. So how much they're willing to, be authentic within the, relationship. C is our compatibility, shared values, chemistry, communication. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say, as you can see in the brackets, that's the scale we're working with 0 to 10, 0 to 20. Openness, I feel like, as once again, self-explanatory, willingness to be vulnerable and grow. Orientation. Yeah, this one, I was thinking about it because I'm like, I don't want to exclude other orientations and just think within heteronormative aspect, I did include, all folks from any orientation so they could also apply this in their life, So it was a bit hard to, get the math down for orientation, but I know I'm just reducing it to numbers. Just simply for the equation, okay? I know it's not just number. I understand there's nuances and complexities to these sexualities of sort, anyways, and my head's in the way, but this time, as love accumulates over time. But there's a simple equation for that, which will be revealed later. Okay, so let's go to the next one here. Okay, so this is our main formula that we'll be working with today. You can see I'll multiply by P1 and P2 equals open square bracket close. I'm not sure the brackets, but you can see it there. It's so that's person one, person two. It's a love times by person one, person two. It equals to the authenticity of person one times the authenticity of person two plus the compatibility between the two, and then it is divided by, or the denominator will be the orientation of person one subtract by the orientation of person two. Pardon. And then it's multiplied by the what's I'm looking for? By the openness average over 10 squared. Uh, yeah, you can see there in the bottom. So basically, what this means is, so at the top we're gonna have our authenticity between the two individuals plus the compatibility. The reason is because with the authenticity, um, each person within this relationship holds their own level of authenticity. You know, So that's only what I could bring to the table. However, compatibility is between the two people. Hence, there's no C1 and C2. I think guys understand there. So that's that. Our denominator. So the reason why the denominator is your orientation of person one subtracted by the orientation of person two plus one is that realistically, a homosexual person would not date a heterosexual person and vice versa. You know what I mean? So however, there's a plus one there because the chances of love are never exactly zero because we could also be talking about other forms of love besides just romantic. So, like for example, if the scale of orientation from 1 to 10, you are you're bisexual, we would put it down the middle. That's a five. But if I to be maybe a heterosexual male, let's put it like a two or three. Because how much I believe some femme pussy anyway. You put it like a two, so now you have like a two minus five, you have minus three, you plus one, you get negative two, and then that means that we probably wouldn't be in a romantic relationship. However, there's still chance of love there, whether it be platonic or acquaintanceship, whatever it may be. And then our openness penalty. This is really, I don't know, it's from obviously from my own interpretation of love. Like if the individual within the what am I looking for? Within the relationship are not open with each other, uh, you know, then obviously it does decrease the chances of love to form. That's why it's multiplied by the openness factor because I feel like it's the biggest factor when it comes to love. You maybe also isn't authenticity and openness one the same, while not necessarily, you know. I could be my authentic self, but still hide a lot. Like I could still be my loud self, funny self, but then I don't tell you when you do something that angers me. For example, that's not being very open. How is it? Anywho, next slide. Shit. This is basically what I explained. You guys can pause if you want to read further, but that's basically what I explained right here. Let's go to the next slide. And as you can see, this is our nope, wrong one. This is our scale of our love scores when we put in all our values and such. I might add some new ones here. As you can see, 0 to 3, no real connection. This could be the average stranger, you guys maybe don't get to know each other properly, or I feel like that you don't have enough proper information because or whatever, or maybe you guys just very opposite people, like completely opposing values, etc. And then 4 to 10, friendship, companionship. Now you see that this is where, so this romantic potential section here, okay, and the strong love section here. Those I feel like could also still fall under the sense of platonic love, forward slash like family love type of thing. Obviously the equation is not perfect, okay? It's not perfect. But it's a good indicator. It's a good indicator for just love as a whole. It's not just strictly romantic love. With the romantic potential section, like especially, right here, I would say, you could find, you could maybe have a friend that, you could romantically be with, but you can't decide to stay as friends. Sorry, come on my nose here. Yes, you guys can still, you have this romantic potential here, but you stay as friends. But that doesn't mean that your love score, it changes. You know what I mean? So yeah. And obviously below me there, your other stuff, but I don't know my camera. But as videos go on, guys, we will get better at it. Trust me. But yeah, basically 56 to 80, if I'm not mistaken, is deep love. Like maybe someone this would be like your best friend type of thing. I feel like, I don't know. That's just me. 81 plus is your soulmate. This is like your person. This is them. Okay, hello guys. So we can apply our theorem in practice. Okay. So we have some examples. I think I have 3 examples that I've just thrown together. So here's our first example. We have Alex and Jordan. They are of 2 separate orientations, and what do you call it? But they have high openness. So now you can see how the formula plays out. So let's get my laser pointer here. So here's our variable of authenticity. Alex is P1, Jordan P2. So it's an 8 and a 7. They're both highly authentic. So we just plug it in here, bang, bang. Okay. Our level of openness, bang, bang. That we put into the brackets here, that we squared, it's over 10. So remember, it's the average. So we're going to take the whatever openness score numbers you get from 2 individuals, you add it and divide by 2. That's like an average. Hope you guys know how to do that basic math. Anyways, then you have the orientation. So as you can see, 5 and 9. Jordan is a lesbian, whereas Alex is a bisexual. Alex is I think I made Alex a guy. Oh, I couldn't remember. But as you can see, there's a difference here with the sexuality, which we plug in our denominator. Plus 1. You do all the level math, blah 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 blah, and then we get this answer right here, which, as you remember, puts them in the friendship tier. Okay, so it's as you see, a score of 7.88. So it's from the friendship story. The orientation gap, but the openness penalty is what the real. Sorry guys, I got a bit of an interruption there. Everyone say hello, Bailey. Hello, hello. Okay, go now. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's Alex and Jordan. That's like an example of, there's love there. However, it's not romantic per se. It's more platonic. As we see, the orientation variable comes into play there. Let's go to our next one. And then for our second example, we have Maya and Sophia. We have two lesbians here. As you can see, the authenticity very high. It's very good. It's a good start. As you can see, the orientation 7 and 8. They both Marv. That's the openness. I apologize. It's been a long day. See the openness. It's both quite high once again. Anything above 6, I would say is a good score. Very easy to work with. And then obviously, as you can see, sexuality and orientation one the same, hence it equals 0 and the denominator is 1. And the compatibility is 18, which once again is the value you would have to get from both partners or both people within this partnership, because it's from both sides. Oh, so Kathy. And then as we see here, sorry, laser pointer. And we see we plug in our values, it's our A1 times our A2 plus our C divided by our S1 minus S2 plus 1 multiplied by our openness average over 10 squared, and that gets us a lovely 50.625. So as you can see, this lands in the strong love category. I'll speak more on this later. I was going to say something, but I'll do the last and final example, and then I'll give my final thoughts at the end. Okay, this is Sam and Riley. I wanted to include like not like a bad example, like not when everything's sunshine and rainbows. Okay, authenticity. You can see they're both quite authentic to themselves. You see, however, they're not open. They're both emotionally guarded. As you see, they're both emotionally guarded. Which lands them both quite low with scores of openness. And both orientations are, once again, the exact same. And then, the compatibility is quite decent. It's a nice 15. 15 out of 20 is quite good. Now you might wonder, why is it score 2.5? Well, because the openness is so low, it leads to this 2.84. Because how can one develop true connection with another if there's no openness? If there are walls erected, how are you able to go into one's house? And this leads to the bigger question of this formula. It's not necessarily about, I don't say these other variables don't matter, but I would say, as we have seen, when you apply this openness variable and the value that you get from the openness from both sides, plays quite an important part. I mean, even if, for example, Sam had to have a score of 9, with that 2 still being there, unfortunately, still brings the score quite low. And once again, that's, it wouldn't be fair on Sam because Sam's been open way, one's not, and yeah, so we see that openness is the defining variable, in my opinion, within this equation. Let's go to yeah, and then a little bit of a summary, a little bit of a verdict, as you can see here. Election Jordan, different orientation, high openness. This leads them to be friends, which it makes sense, they're not same orientation, however, they're quite open to each other. They're both the authentic selves with a high level of authenticity. They're good compatibility. However, it's a good friendship. Not everything has to be, romantic based. That's what I'm saying, you guys. You can apply this formula not only to romantic aspects of life, which granted is what I based it off of, but as I was formulating the formula, I realized, hey, love is a spectrum. It's not just ignore that. It's not just romantic. You love a dog. You love sleeping, but you don't want to marry it. If you want to marry a dog, I don't know. Not fucking. Anyways, hey, as you see, Maya and Sophia, same orientation, high openness. These quite high score of strong love. Same orientation, low openness. Give them a score of 3. There's no connection to be formed because once again, they are walls that they are talking to. Hence, they cannot form anything. And finally, guys, the big takeaway that we have found out is low openness thanks to score regardless of how compatible you are, because eventually it gets to a point of you can be how compatible, but there's no real connection being formed because once again, talking to warrior. And the personal denominator means that love is always made possible. Up to obviously for what motivation for my lads out there, for the lads, the Gentiles, the ladies, the lasses, whoever you are, whatever you may be want to be called. Trust me. Look at me, Mario. Even though, there might be the 10 to 10 bad, it might be the there's always a chance. The plus one is there for my people that don't have faith in yourself. Have faith in yourself. The plus one always comes through. And then obviously orientation does matter, like no shit. But authenticity plus openness can overcome any gap. Now you might be thinking like, oh, but what if I'm a straight man? And there's a gay guy here. Blah, blah, blah. That's what I think about what the fuck you just said. Shut the fuck up. Obviously, there's some nuance to this. Obviously, I'm not expecting you to change your orientation, nor, think something about it. If, as I said, this is not simply for romantic love. You could form a strong partnership with someone strictly platonically. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I don't know what to say. I know love is an integral, it grows over sustained compatibility. 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 Sorry guys, please get along. I don't know. Bye bye. If you want to see any other videos, let me know in the comments down below. Give me any suggestions and I will, cook up something. I don't know. Bye bye.